Hey guys, welcome to the No Fear, Just Love podcast, where we reject fear and choose love. My name is Lachey.
What's up, y'all? I'm Glow, and today we are joined by two very, very special people. Y'all make some noise for Shaniah and Willie.
Hey everybody.
Thank
you for having us.
Insert confetti, explosion, random gunfire, silence. All the things. Well, thank y'all for being with us.
Thank you for having us. Yeah, we're so happy
y'all
to be
look
here.
good now. Come on. Y'all are no stranger to the world and to people, but for those who may have been living under a rock, won't you tell us a little bit about yourselves?
Yes. So my name is Shaniah, obviously. I am the daughter of Jermaine Dupri, which is what a lot of people know me for, but I am also a pre-med student. No longer in school. I graduated from the University of Miami in 2020, but I am getting ready to apply to medical school as well as veterinary medicine school as well. So I'll be sending those off in May. So fingers crossed and lots of prayers that it goes my way either direction. Outside of that, I do currently work at an animal hospital to help gain that experience. And then I guess, that wraps it up about me.
Okay. Well, everybody, my name is Willie. I guess I'm the boyfriend of Shaniah, because that's what everybody knows me as.
That's kind of why you're here.
Yeah, I guess. yeah, you know what I mean? But I'm currently in school. I got one more class left, and I'm finishing up in May. So
That's awesome, y'all. Well, we two couples on the couch right now talking about love today. Our journeys, of course. How long have y'all been together? Let's go timeline talk.
together.
Mm-hmm.
I'll let you answer.
6 years.
6 years
But
together
I guess
as
a
couple.
Yeah.
We were
Officially,
friends. Yeah, we were friends for a while before then. So we've known each other since I was 16, and he's actually a year younger than me. So he was 15 at the time.
Yeah, you're like I'm grown.
Oh my God. Listen, that was, I did not like him for the longest prior to me giving in and being like, oh yeah, I might give him a chance. And it was because of that. I was very ashamed of the fact that he was younger than me. Because, in our day and age now, it's always girls talking about, I want to date older men where it's at, that's where the money is, all that type of stuff. So
City girl vibes.
Exactly, right. And of course I'm in high school. I don't know nothing about being a city girl, but I'm just I want to live that life, But I had my fair share of messing around with boys that I had no business messing with, quarterbacks on the football team. Boys that were off into drugs and gang banging and stuff,
Baby.
Look, it was all so attractive to me,
Yeah.
but those were the guys that I didn't need to be dealing with. They were the ones that brought me lots of heartbreak, and, it was just, I was going through a lot at the time with dealing with them, to where, because me and him were so close as friends, I was opening up to him, telling him about that, and he would always have very positive words of encouragement for me. It was beyond the fact that, you're beautiful to me, but he actually saw me for who I was internally as opposed to just what I look like externally. So that, in addition to his persistence, I'll say, it was definitely one of the things that was okay, this might be something I should give a chance.
Yeah.
And I did. I'm happy I did.
That's awesome. Willie, you said persistence, so I gotta bring it to you, bro. What was that space like where you recognized she was someone who you were growing to just deeper than friends? And
I think it was at one point, we started off as friends, and then we became best friends. We first started talking off of Fun Run.
Yeah.
We started playing. Fun Run.
He
Yes.
DM'd me on Instagram and was can we play Fun Run against each other or something like that? Yeah.
So
That's cute.
That's where it all started at. But I feel just a couple years from friendship, I just kind of felt like she might be the one, maybe. just because like of the connection we kind of had.
Not you leaving out the best part.
Uh-oh.
So when
hide.
I said persistence, what I meant was, so Willie was the type, we went to private school, so once they let out, if we had cars, we could walk to our cars. Willie would walk me to my car every day after school. And like people in high school are nosy, so they like looking like what they got going on. I'm like, can you stop walking me to my car? Like stop. Like people are saying things, like stop walking me to my I don't care about that. Let me just help you out. And he would walk me no matter how many times I was like, please stop, like don't do this, like leave me alone. Like he would still do it every single day.
What made you?
Well, at that point, it was just like out of a friendship like thing, just because. No, it was.
Okay.
Like that one time you was trying to bring some clothes in. Like she's very independent and doesn't want help.
Talk to me.
So she had like 2 trash bags full of clothes, trying to take it into school, and she's like, "Don't help me, I don't need any help." And I ended up helping anyways.
Let's talk about that. Let's just take a shit.
This person in my ear is so strong right now.
Real quick. Now, listen, I'm all for
Right.
I'm all for independence, self-sufficiency. But I kind of throw this to the couch, for the ladies. Obviously, we live in a time now where gender roles, that type of talk is constant. Everybody's trying to figure out what should the man's role be, woman's roles be. And of course, after time of like heartbreaks, letdowns, I talk about all the time, like I feel women have just become more self-sufficient or independent because of like the absence of the man or for whatever reason.
Right.
Yeah.
For you ladies, when do you feel like it is okay, or do you feel like it is okay to kind of like not necessarily let go of your self-sufficiency, but allow yourself to be helped and allow yourself to?
I feel like every woman is able to reach a spot in her life where she's like, okay, like I will allow you to help me if it's the right person. You know what I mean? Like if you don't trust this person, if you really don't love this person, you're not going to let them help you. You know what I mean? And sometimes like if you've been independent for so long and someone comes, you're not going to immediately be like, oh, save me. Like do all these things for me. Like it's going to take time for you to be like dying to your independency, if that makes sense.
I mean, I think mine comes from my mom has raised me pretty much on her own my whole entire life. So seeing her always be independent has kind of been engraved within me. So for me, it doesn't even come from a place of like, oh, I don't want your help or I'm not trying to submit. You know how they be like, you should submit to your man. Like it's not even, it doesn't come from a place of that. It comes from this is what I'm used to. So this is the only thing that I really know. Like I don't need to wait around to be like, hey, can you help me with this? I'm gonna go ahead and do it because that's the way I've been used to living my life. Like if something needs to be done, we just go ahead and do it because we don't necessarily have the help there. So I think for me it's that, but a lot of people don't understand that, and we've had to have that discussion because he's like, why don't you just ask for help instead of sitting there and letting me watch you struggle?
I feel like there's a point where it's like, you need help with this. You can't do this by yourself, even though like you're independent. So I feel like there's a point of like, can you help me?
Bro, that's huge.
Because I would say my mom, like growing up, she was like, just make sure like you always like have your own. So that's where my like independency comes from. But I feel like it's normal to be independent. Like when you grow up and you learn to be an adult, like you're independent. You know what I mean? So like.
But see, I think that's our mindset though. Like because there's different women, and I keep saying like during this day and age, but we live in such an interesting society right now. Everybody has like this skewed viewpoint, like because you have like the city girls and you get on Instagram and you see all these other young girls like that are our age in their 20s, buying $40,000-$50,000 cars or dating guys that are supplying them with these lavish lifestyles. It's one of those things where it's like like dang, do I need to just, fall back and just let a man do everything, or do I need to just still be trying to establish my life on my own? So it's like a weird, because I have a 9-year-old sister, and it's like, for me, I often think, if it wasn't for me, who would she be outside of my mom, of
Yeah,
course? Who
looking
would
up
she
to.
be looking up to? Because there really aren't, and I'm not saying that there aren't any role models out there, but the people that are being looked up to nowadays, it's not really someone that I would want her to try to mold her life after.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying anything negative about them, but just for me as an older sister, and you know, even just thinking about the morals and values that I have for myself, I wouldn't want her to want to
But
follow
that's
in
the
those
key,
footsteps.
like morals and values, because everyone's is different. Like,
That is true.
I'm not gonna lie, if I can post a picture on OnlyFans and all
Girl,
my bills
talk
is paid
about it.
for the month, like,
Talk about
like
it, yeah.
when my alarm goes off at 2 a.m. in the morning, sometimes a sugar daddy pops up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, let's be
Look,
honest.
I'm not even gonna
like,
lie to you. I was like, dang, how can I get away with posting these photos under a fake account and
And
no one?
nobody knows my
I'm not gonna tell
name.
him. No one
Look,
will know me.
I ain't got no tattoos.
Let me talk to you.
But because of our like our morals and stuff,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I would be mortified
Right.
if I post a picture and my parents saw that.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they're fighting me, like respectfully, but like it's not gonna end well. You know what I mean? So that's like morals is a big thing for me.
It is true.
But
Hey.
you do have those
Yeah.
thoughts sometimes when it's like, bro, like I can just message someone
Right.
and he's sending me 50 bands,
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
No, it makes a huge difference. So it really boils down to what do you care about the most.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because as easy as it's given to you, it can be easily taken away as well.
Absolutely.
So it's like you have to just think about those types of things. A lot of people don't. They just jump into things, which I mean,
Yeah, I like
human
follow
nature, it
trends,
happens. So yeah.
Well, kudos to y'all. I know it's the month of March and we're celebrating Women Month. Shout out. So I will take a second to just honor you guys, and I don't think women who think that way are honored and like celebrated as much as you should be. Because what I hear is the reality is it's not that those thoughts don't pop up. It's just that you have something in you, a moral, a thought process, a self-respect that you can have a talk with yourself, you know, to not act on those thoughts. And like you said, it'd be crazy not to think. I mean, the same way with us as men, like you see, you know, people drug dealing, you see people doing, you know, scamming, like, you know, it's easy to do a lot of things that could get you like a quick come up, but
Yeah.
like
But
you
is it worth
said,
it, yeah.
is it worth it? So shout out to y'all for, you know, and again, no knock to any woman that is doing that.
Right.
You gotta get it how you live.
Yeah, exactly.
But,
Get it how you live,
you
shit.
know, and if you living, you listen. But shout out to you all and to the women like that as well that have chosen to just take a different route, I'll say. That being said, you know, we're just gonna keep it going. You know, we're talking relationships. We touched on like self-sufficiency, independence, like from a man's perspective though. For us, we live in a society, of course, that is also telling us to, you gotta be the breadwinner. You have to be the one that can take care of things and the load of it. And here's the thing, like, you're dating Jermaine Dupri's daughter, you know what I'm saying? And so, like, for you, was there anything coming into the relationship once y'all decided to go that route that kind of made you either question your ability to be able to give her, you know, a lifestyle that she was accustomed to, or was it like, what was that? What was that like?
Well, before we started dating, she's always been like, well, I guess around school you might hear like someone might be like, oh, she's stuck up or cocky or whatever. But she's always been like very humble, very sweet. You wouldn't even know her dad's like somebody famous. So with that, I just kind of like try to keep myself grounded. Let me see. I try to keep myself grounded and like trying to get ahead so I could get to where I want to be to take care of her fully and stuff like that. But but she doesn't like stress me out about it, like, oh, you need to hurry up and stuff like that. But yeah,
That's awesome. What's that like? I mean, we'll talk about it too, but what's that like, being able to like...
And I left a huge part out when you introduced me. I am also a former reality television star on Growing Up Hip Hop Atlanta, and I got some entrepreneurial things as well. Don't know how I left that out, but I did.
They're tracking. They already know.
With that being said, was something that I definitely thought about.
Yeah.
Because there are things that I'm accustomed to, especially growing up, that I knew dating someone that from the outside looking in would be considered regular, I would no longer be getting those types of things. But I always knew that I never wanted to date in the industry. My dad, I love him to death, but I would never want to date a man like him. So I knew that I never wanted that. Athletes, I didn't want to do that either, even though that's what I was attracted to the most. So it was something that I was concerned about, but something that I knew I always wanted.
Yeah.
My biggest thing is, as long as you love me and you're able to take care of me and provide for me, that really, to me, is all that matters. I'm not really big on materialistic things like that. If you get them for me, that's really nice. I really, I like them, of course. I appreciate them, but it's not something that I necessarily have to have.
Yeah.
And then, like, of course, once I started filming the show, of course, that obviously put us at an uneven playing ground at that point. So it just became one of those things where I started to have open and honest conversations with him, like, my gifts are super expensive that I'm giving you, not because I'm trying to just do that, but because that's just the type of person that I am. I like to go all out for the people that I love. And I always just made him feel comfortable and understand, like, I know, number one, we're still growing together. We're not fully off into our careers yet. I just happen to be going down a path right now that's got me elevated in a sense. So, I don't want you to feel pressured or feel like you're not worthy enough or anything like that. So it's just really an opportunity for us to be open and transparent about those things, which was important, because if not, then it could have led to a lot of issues. Because I had guys coming at me at that time too that had blue checks verified on Instagram, so it would have been easy for me to be like, you know what, I'm not getting what I want over here. Let me just slide right over there.
Nice.
I'll just say, like, to that, it makes me think. Like, dating for status is not sustainable. Because when you think about all the things that go into status, if it's like superficial things or temporary things, it's like, we live in a world, and of course, being around the industry, we all see it all the time. Like, one person's up this month, next time they not. And it's like, especially like income is attached to. Influence or popularity or stuff like that. So it's like, if you go after a person, or based on that, like, the moment they're not hot anymore, like, a lot is affected. You know what I'm saying? Like, in the industry, it's like, everything's connected. So your influence is connected to your income. Your income is determining your influence, and it's like, the moment you don't have one,
you don't have none.
You don't have the other. So it's like you said, like, being with somebody that's actually willing to love you for who you are. I don't know, I'm coming with the quotes today, but, like, listen, anybody can. Listen, I'm just saying, like, anybody can bring up, meaning, like, anybody can have something that makes somebody something, but not everybody can build up. Like, it takes a special person to be able to build with each other, and of course, like, in that fast-paced life, everybody wants the blue check now.
No, that's true.
That development essence, I think, of relationships and being together. Like, this generation, they come upon, like, Love and Basketball, and, those type of movies, or like, In Living Color, and those things that kind of taught us, or at least portrayed to us, like, they got into it, but they're back. They worked it out. They talked through it. It's just like. I know it's a different time, but I say kudos to y'all, because, like, for us, our first date, she paid for it.
Oh, wow.
I don't put myself out there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, that's huge.
Like.
It was Chili's.
It was Chili's. We didn't break the thing, but at the same, but let's go further. So, like, first date, she paid for the meal.
Okay.
Then, I needed, like, my flight back. Like, I didn't get my flight back.
There was a hurricane.
It was a hurricane. Flights was getting canceled,
right,
delayed.
left.
So she ended up paying for my flight back. Even, right? Even at like a fault to my own, where it was like, bro, like, you got here? Was you
He
here?
literally came here with no way back. Like, it's not like he didn't book both tickets. He booked one
So he
ticket.
was like, I know I gotta get there.
I know I gotta get
We'll work
there.
on that.
We'll figure it out later.
Like, really, the same thing. He's like, yeah, I gotta book my ticket. I'm like, for what? What ticket are you talking about? To get home?
Then it's a hurricane. It's like, brother, like,
It was a mess.
yeah, it was crazy. And I say that to say, like, you know, where it could have been super easy for her to just hit me with the, like, this nigga don't got his stuff together. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh no, like, this is not happening.
Yeah.
There was a thing in her that chose to, like, take a different perspective. And I'm not saying that that's something I just make a normal out of. You know?
But I mean, he was like, I'll pay you back. So it's not like he was just
she
like,
got that money.
I'm gonna need you to.
She got that money right back. Like,
But then on the other hand, like, let's be realistic. Like, he has to get back home. You know what I mean? Like, he can't just stay at my apartment. You know what I mean? So it's like, how are you gonna get home?
And her thing was like, you got rehearsals. Like, I had a rehearsal to get back to. Boom, boom. So even hearing her say things like that was like, you care about me getting back for the things that you know I care about.
Right.
And it was just like a thing where, like, again, people show you if they're willing to build with you.
Yeah.
They're willing to. Now, like, from that point on, whenever I'm up, like, and we had that open conversation too. You know what I'm saying? I tell her, like, hey, this is what I do. This is my profession. Like, this is how I make money.
Right.
And it don't come every day. It's like, honest, like, I'm not up all the time.
Yeah.
But when I'm up, we up. You know what I'm
We were
saying?
just at a cabin.
It's good, you know. And it's just been cool to be with somebody who's like, I understand that.
Right.
And even, like, I ain't gonna say I had the best financial disciplines, but we talk about that too. Because you mentioned something, just open and honest conversations, you know? And that was, coming into our relationship was very key, was just like, our biggest thing is not hiding.
But I think it also helped that, like, I wasn't looking for financial security from anyone. So the fact that, like, he wasn't financial security in that moment didn't turn me off, because it's like, I'm not looking at that.
Because I was gonna ask, so when you had to get his ticket and, like, when you were paying for y'all's first date, what was your state of mind at that time? Like, were you, like, thinking, like, outside of, like, anything else, were you thinking, like, okay, I could still see this going somewhere? Or
again, I was like, I do not want a boyfriend. Like, even, like, accepting the fact, like, yeah, he can come for a date. I was like, okay, like, just a lunch. You know what I mean? Just a lunch. Just a fly out. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, like, I wasn't tripping. And again, it's literally Chili's. Like, the bill was probably $30 max. You know what I mean? And then when he needed his flight, he was like, I'll pay you back. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, I'm like, I don't know. If someone needs something, like, I'm gonna give it to you. And if you're gonna pay me back, that's a plus. You know what I mean? So
very generous.
Yeah.
And it makes me, that's her type of heart, makes me want to be better.
And I think because, like, I wasn't looking at him as boyfriend material at that time.
Okay.
It wasn't like, ooh, that's an ex.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Like,
Yeah.
were those red flags?
No, because at that time I was still like,
Right.
don't want
I
no
didn't give
boyfriend.
her a sign to be like, I'm open.
That was before 310.
Right. Backstory, I'm gonna let you tell it, basically.
What?
The 310 thing.
Okay, so 310 is my birthday, but when I see it, like, I know that's, like, a sign that, like, spiritually, like, something's gonna happen, or, like, I'll ask God for confirmation, like, God, like, is this supposed to be my boyfriend? Show me 310, and I'll see 310, I'll be like, okay, like, that is, because that's, like, not very common numbers.
310 is not.
No, and it
not
has
at
to be
all.
very, like, 3 and a 10, not, like,
at the same time, very
Yes.
clear.
Yes.
Wow.
And it'll be, like, random, like, it'll be, like the way, like, my messages, or it'll be, like, the gas, or I'd be watching TV and it'll be a phone number, or
That's
like
crazy.
Yeah. I literally just kept seeing 310 everywhere, and I was like, bro, like, this is not normal. Like,
That's wild.
it's not normal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then ever since then, it's just been like clicking.
That's really dope.
That's good. That is
Super
Yeah.
dope.
It is.
Super dope. And yeah, like, to her point, again, it made me more free to be able to, like, lean in.
Right.
And more about, like, all right, God, like, talk to me too. Like, I want clarity. I want to be able to know that I'm not in the driver's seat of this thing. Like, I've done relationships so much just from like, just from desire, just from like, I want to be loved. I want to love somebody,
Right.
and I'll be with whoever will be with me.
Yeah.
And this is my like second relationship. Like
Okay.
everybody else has been
Yeah.
collateral. y'all were just there because of the past. So
This is like,
Uh-oh,
I want to
this is a
say,
moment.
y'all, I
This is a
want to say
moment.
this is like my first real relationship.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
Wow.
Willie's the first guy that I've ever like introduced to my dad. Of course, everyone goes through my mom. So, but even still, I mean, I
Yeah.
messed with someone in high school, but we're not gonna talk about that. So this is my
friend.
this is my first like real relationship.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Same
So.
too, yeah.
What do
Very
y'all?
crazy.
What would y'all say contributes to y'all's like consistent growth?
So I would say, so during that period of time that I mentioned where I did not like him, we were really working on developing a friendship. And so during that time, we became best friends. And I'm very careful about how I phrase this because I have a lot of guy best friends. But I want to be very clear, I've never crossed those lines with any of those guy best friends. Those are completely platonic relationships. But this one was very different in the sense that we were best friends, but we always knew that there was something there that was more than friends, but obviously I was fighting it. So there was that, but once we actually got into our relationship, we started dating in August 9th to be exact, 2016. And so I had just went away to University of Miami for college. And so at that point, we were long distance. Exactly. So I'm in Miami, he's here in Georgia. And as you can imagine, it put a lot of strain on our relationship. Like, we're young, he's finishing up high
because
school.
we started dating right before she left.
Exactly.
Wow.
I'm in college, so I'm being exposed to this whole new
Everything.
world of partying,
Miami.
boys, Miami,
It's
and
Miami.
that. Yeah,
DJ Khaled is Eve.
exactly, right? All the freedom in the world. Like,
Right.
you know, I could have been buck wild if I
Right,
wanted to.
right.
He didn't know nobody at my school. He would have never known.
Yeah.
So we really started. And one of the things I'll say that really made me love him was his relationship with God. It wasn't the sort of thing where I had to force anything on him. We collectively decided we need to start praying together at night. And that was something that, of course, we weren't perfect. We didn't do it every night. But when we could, we made sure that we prayed together at night over the phone. And I want to say that our relationship with God, our relationship is based on a foundation that's surrounded 100% by God, and our friendship, that has got us to where we are today.
Yeah, I would agree.
100%.
Yeah.
And it hasn't been easy breezy. We've had our ups and downs.
For sure.
I've definitely tried to break up with him more times than I can count. If only we'd be
That's
agreeing
right,
on
that's
6
right.
years.
You know, yeah.
If you ain't broke up at least twice, are you really together?
Listen, I have tried so many times. We actually just came through, I think, our hardest season. So that was interesting.
Yeah.
That was his last year of college, his senior year, which was our other period of being long distance, because when I was in college and it was me being in Miami, it was, I guess, a different expectation for me. And I felt like when he was in Miami by himself, he wasn't being held to that same expectation. And that led to a lot of issues between us. At this time, I'm also taking my MCAT and struggling with a lot of
And
things.
then we had just went through like being in Florida together through COVID. Then COVID sent her home. And then I went home too for that junior year, and then I'm getting sent back to Miami for my senior year. So it was a lot of like back and forth.
A lot of movement.
I think it was a lot of stress. There was a lot of like, he was there with like his group of friends. I didn't necessarily know this group of friends. I felt like this group of friends was a bad influence, which wasn't true. I mean, they're good people, but that's just how I was feeling in that time. And I was constantly like, oh, you're doing this and this, and not being honest. And like, he's like one of the most honest people I know. Not to toot his horn too much, but I mean, I'm just being real like he is. So why I felt that way, I don't know, but I did, and it led to us like having a lot of issues all the time. And it was to the point where like his birthday's in November, and so he was staying in Miami, so I was gonna go down there to see him, but I was like, I'm not booking a flight to come see you for your birthday. I booked my flight. Okay, I booked
right. Let's be clear. Let's be
I
clear.
booked it literally at the last minute, minute that I possibly could, because I was like, I'm not going to see him.
Yeah.
His mom even called me and was like, no, they call me Suge. She was like, now Suge, you know you can't not go see him for his birthday. I was like, yes, I can. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Would you say you were scared of something?
I will say I was scared of feeling that I had wasted my time, for sure. Because when you think about it, us being together for 6 years at that time, we're coming up on 7 in August. That's a long time. And we're so young. Like, we have basically consumed all of our 20s with one another, essentially. You know, so feeling like, okay, I've been in a relationship with this person, now things are just going downhill, like, what was it all for? You know, was this supposed to just be a lesson and now I'm supposed to move on? Or, you know, like, I don't know. So I always, that time I really started getting heavily into praying about, like, God, if this is what's meant to be, like, you know, let it be. But if not, then go ahead and show me so I can move on with my life. He never gave me no signs to exit. Even when I tried, it was like, no, you're coming back. You know?
I was like, you gonna sit there and be there for me.
But we were having this conversation yesterday, how, like, sometimes we can create things in our mind that just aren't true.
That's true.
And it's like, I went on a cruise, right?
Talk about it.
I went on a cruise and
on now.
I roomed with a friend of mine. We've been friends for, like, since 3rd grade. He's a guy, but like, friends, like literal friends. And he
now,
said,
don't come for my girl, because I'm just gonna put this out. Don't come for her.
why are you coming for me?
I'm just saying. I'm like, bro,
oh my God.
This was before we started dating. And when I brought it to him, he said yes.
Yeah.
So
I was cool.
He was cool.
Yeah, I wasn't cool.
I'm in the middle of the ocean. All right. I have no cell phone service.
Right.
So we cannot talk.
Right.
Meanwhile, this man thinks I'm doing A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
Oh no.
When I
all
tell
the
you,
things.
I was like,
And then when he finally texts me, it's like this just.
parent story.
Oh.
I'm letting her have it.
I'm over here reading my thing. I'm like,
Dang, I was just gonna tell you about the great time I had.
I'm in the middle of the ocean. I'm eating all you can eat
I'm over
food.
here like, I'm calling on you can't respond. I'm like, okay. But you can post on it.
Oh my God.
That's what was getting me though.
I get that.
Because there was some posts happening
Yes, but
that
actually,
I had just called.
but it didn't post until like an hour later. You know what I'm
Right, and I didn't
saying?
know
Like,
that. I didn't know it was an hour later. It said 3 minutes. It said 3 minutes.
But in his
It said
mind,
3 minutes.
it's just like,
In my mind, and on Instagram, it said 3 minutes.
but it's like, relax. Like you know me. Like just literally relax.
It was a. Now, like she said, like she told me about the cruise and even asked me if I was cool with it when we weren't even dating.
Right.
Like we weren't boyfriend girlfriend.
So gave you that respect without even having to. Yeah.
And so she didn't have to exactly. And I was just like, you know what? For you to even ask me as if I have any type of like input, and we not even together, like, I respect that, you know. And I really do, you know, I really did. I really do. I at the time though wasn't honest about how I felt about it because I didn't want to come across like a guy. We weren't together. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to come across like that guy. Like, who am I to tell you how I feel about something?
And him not doing that resulted in me getting all of the backlash.
Right.
Wow.
So by the
Instead of
time,
just having that.
So between that and then her cruise, we're together now. You know, we're building. We're like, you know, we're full fledged, like boyfriend girlfriend.
We go together.
Real bad. And so, and then of course, like I would make slow comments.
Boy.
I
turned my phone over. I said, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
I'm on a cruise. Like, I'm trying to enjoy my best life. And here he is with the most depressing, angry text. And I literally told him, I was like, I'm not going to sit here and be the victim of your insecurities. Like,
Ooh.
I'm not going to do it.
No, that cut deep right there.
Said it again.
That cut deep right there.
Dang.
Homegirl in the past did A, B, and C. Does not mean I'm going to do A, B, and C.
Yeah.
You should trust me off of what we've been through the past XYZ months. You know what I mean? I was like, no, like I'm not gonna sit here and take that. Like
Yeah.
I don't deserve that.
Yeah, and that was so I asked like, what were you scared of? Because at the time, like I was really I was terrified at not being able to know enough to be like in control in a sense of like how you're handling my heart. You know what I'm saying? Like put my heart in other people's hands before they drop it, they break it, they this and they that, and sometimes we can walk around with these just experiences of the past and just like copy and paste them on a new person. You know? And I was trying.
It was annoying.
Yeah.
Cause I was like, you don't even trust me.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong. Like I felt like it opened me up to be able to communicate in a way that helped her. Like, cause she understood where it was coming from. But I realized because she wasn't that type of person, she didn't understand. So, and that's what helped. It helped me realize, like, okay, because sometimes I was like, how are you not understanding like how I feel right now?
I'm like, you said yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And she's very like
simplistic. Like 1 + 1 = 2 for me. Like I'm very simple.
She's not trying to like finesse and like.
Yeah.
And so that's why I had to fall back on trusting the woman she is. Like. Not girlfriend, not you know. It's like what type of person are you? And I've seen nothing but like the most like respectable, honest, you know, genuine. Like if she miss it, it's like genuinely. It's not like I'm intentionally trying to boom.
Yeah.
And then like you said, God will really help translate you to another person.
Yeah.
Like God will help you understand.
That's very
the
true.
person you're with, you know, because honestly, like we just two people. Let's put it in perspective. Like all of us are individuals.
Right.
I'm a man. She's a woman. First difference creates a whole world of different type of like perspective and understanding. Right.
Yeah.
So for me as a man, I'm territorial. You know what I'm saying?
Of course, yeah.
So I can talk to Willie about this, and he'd be like, "Bro, I get that."
But they don't get it.
But they don't get it.
Yeah.
And so I'm talking to her about it. I'm like, "Why don't you? How does this not make sense?" I'm like, "How is me asking you if you gonna keep sleeping in the room with your friends? Making sense?"
Yeah.
You said yes.
And I mean, honestly,
That's what I keep going back to.
I think too, it's also the fear of the unknown, right? So it's like, even though she asked you about it up front and you said yes, it's like in the back of your mind too, it's like, okay, well, what if she's doing this there, you know? And I think like with him too, a lot of that played a role because you don't have anyone. Like, I didn't have anyone at his school, watching for me. Not even saying that I would do that, but you don't have anyone to tell you, like, oh, I seen him with such and such or doing such. So it's like, you don't really, exactly. So his friend's not going to be like, hey, your boy cheater. They're not going to do that. So it's
My
like,
friends,
you say
they
that.
told you that in your face.
They said that too. I don't believe it. They always be like, I tell you, but no. So I think for me, it was a lot of that too, because I would have never known if he was doing something. Like, for instance, one night there was a situation with him and his friend, and he told me he was doing something for his friend, like, what was it? Helping him with his back or something like that. I didn't believe that for nothing. I didn't believe that for nothing.
Ain't no way.
Oh my gosh, he says I blew it completely out of proportion, but I lit him up that night. And he was like, I talked to all my boys about this, and they said you tripping. It don't. I didn't believe it. No, I didn't. I said he got a girlfriend. That's what he needs to call his girlfriend for. You don't need to be doing that.
He didn't have a girlfriend.
Well, you say he had a girl in his room.
He didn't have nobody that could have. It was something serious that nobody really could have did.
Well, he didn't.
She like, when did you go to medical school?
Exactly.
When did you go to chiropractor? I got bad pride. You know what?
Yeah, exactly.
But I feel like it takes more energy to like think of things that could possibly be happening,
It does.
rather than just being like, no, I trust you.
Yeah.
And then trusting God that He didn't send you somebody who was going to play with you, or like.
So then He'll reveal it if that is the case.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like just having that trust is like very.
Which is something I thank God for our relationship because it pushes me back into His arm. Like it pushes me, it confronts me in a way that's like, are you like God be like, are you trusting me for real?
Yeah.
Or is it like just cute to say?
Right.
You know, because like when that happened, I really had to like come face to face with my faith and God. Like, it was like, God, do I trust you to like be with her and her heart and her mind to make sure like she's, you know, like upholding our commitment.
But then here's the other thing. Like, I live by myself. I have my own apartment. Like, if I wanted to be outside, I would be outside. Like, why would I wait until a cruise to be out? Like,
Absolutely.
every day is opportunity. If I really wanted to. You know what I mean?
That's true. This is true. I have to move forward, because she's talking that. I was just playing. But even in that, I had to trust like the love of God for me enough to be able to, one, put me on game. If anything, you know what I'm saying.
Exactly.
And then two, this is where the real work. Like, I was going to therapy in August. So like what I learned is like this will help me get rid of fear. A lot of fear was God was just telling me no one can hurt you beyond my ability to heal you. And so, because for me, it was like, I don't want to get hurt. At the end of the day, you boil it all down to a science. Like, no one wants to be hurt.
Right.
Like, we fear a lot of times getting hurt. One of the reasons we named our podcast what we did was because, like, in the Bible it says, perfect love drives out fear. And then there's no fear in love. And I was like, God, like, why would you talk like that? And with dealing with, like, why would you?
Right.
And he was like, because one of the scariest things to do is love. It's
scary.
scary.
That is for sure. It is so scary.
You know?
But like, that's the thing that everybody wants is love.
We all want it. It's
all
just
want
scary
it,
because it's like, you got to put your heart out there. You got to put, you know, you put yourself in someone else's hands, essentially. Like, I'm gonna talk to you about what makes me. I feel weak. I feel insecure. I feel all these things, and so it's scary. Like, love is risky business. I was talking to a friend of mine named Josh, and he was just about to get married, and he said, you know, there's no safe way to love. There's and you'll drive yourself crazy looking for it. There's just no safe way to, like. He was like, my wife could wake up tomorrow and be like, I don't want this.
That's true.
You know?
Yep.
And he would like,
Hectic.
and he's like, that's why you got to be selfless when you love. It's because, like, if that person doesn't choose you tomorrow and your decision to choose them was based on only your love for them, when you're not chosen, it doesn't really hurt that bad. Like, or I won't say it doesn't hurt that bad, but it's, your choice is still stands. Like, it still has a strength to, like, I wasn't choosing you because you chose me.
Right.
I was choosing you because I wanted to choose you, you know? And that's why it's like, I think it's important for us in our age to understand, like, to choose anybody else because of any other thing other than wanting to choose them will, like, set your heart up for like, for it to break. And it just takes work to be like, what am I choosing? You know? Because one thing I never did with anybody before was be honest. Like, when we started talking in our friendship stage, I was like, I have insecurities. This is what they are. I'm insecure about this. I'm insecure about this. I don't like this. You know, I feel like this. I deal with this. You know, like, and even my, like, I tend to do this. Sometimes I make decisions, I don't even know why I did it. I'm gonna be honest with you. And so for me, her response to that, because I finally made up in my mind, I'm going to be real with the next person. Because at least I know if I be real with them, if they choose me, it's going to be real. Like, it's going to be a real choice to choose me. Like, not off of glamour. Like, this is what you're going to deal with. Like, I can create stuff in my head. You leave me alone. You leave me by myself long enough. I can create something. And you need to know. And she chose me. And I was just like, okay. Even through that, like, the fear of, like, what are you doing? You could be doing something.
But I didn't choose you because of you. I don't know if this will make sense. I didn't choose you because of you. I chose you because God chose you for me. I don't know.
That makes sense. It's impactful.
Yeah. So, like, God is different. Like, if God tells you, eat this apple, it's good for you, you're going to eat the apple. You know what I mean? Like, so when God's like, all right, here's your man, you're not going to be like,
that ain't my man. You sure?
Right.
Like,
Right. Especially when he answered the prayer. Like, it's not like he just sent you a man and it was just like random. No, you prayed.
Yeah.
You asked for confirmation.
And
You were sent.
Wow.
So it's like,
Dang.
like that's my foundation. Like that's like, and he's a man who needs affirmation. Like he needs, baby, I love you. You look good. Good job. Like me, like I'm good. I'm like I don't need nothing. Like no.
But I feel like most men.
Yeah.
But I was saying that to say like,
But yeah.
ever since like God told me, like I've been good. Like I don't have doubts. I don't have fears. Like even though you may be rocky here or there, like God said what He said.
Yeah.
And like that's it.
Yeah. That's the sauce I think that a lot of people miss. It's like that type of talk on her and how she moves with God literally puts me in my face. Because I'm like, man, she trusting you concerning me.
Yeah.
That's faith. Like, unquestionable. Like, I'm like, I know I don't get it right all the time. I know I done put up red, blue, yellow flags.
But I mean, I'm not perfect either.
Right. And that's not to, like, say, you know, I'm just saying, like, when you get to that point in your faith where, like, if God said it, that's what it is. And even concerning a relationship, it's like, and then how He says it, like, sometimes we look for this, like, crack the sky, open, boom,
That's what I'm saying. Like,
like a grand,
great
you know what I'm saying? And He
Yeah.
could just be saying it through, like, He gonna walk you to your car every day. Not one name.
Yeah.
You know, and just make sure you straight.
pick up your clothes.
Pick up your clothes, you know.
Put it in the trunk.
Right.
See you, it's like to see you in need or see you, like, and then He be like, I got you. Like, you don't know you need it.
But,
Or you don't think you need it.
Yeah.
Or you've been taught that you, you know, shouldn't need it.
yeah.
And you sends it, and I'm just like, I'm grateful. Like I'm grateful to be with someone who constantly makes me get with God. Like, you know, I need Him to like do it right.
That's good. Because it's someone that uplifts you and encourages you to be a better version of yourself. Not only daily, but for you to like see where you see yourself at now, she can help you see yourself even bigger this time next year.
Power of a woman. Telling you now.
The right one.
The right one.
Yep.
You know, I literally always say like, no, I'm gonna know she's the one because she's gonna make me want to be better.
Yeah.
Like, be a better version of me.
Yeah.
And every day I wake up, I'm like, all right, Glow, how can we be better?
Any partner, I feel like, even down to something as simple as friendships. If you have friends in your circle that don't want to see you grow, I've lost so many friends who would be like, oh, you always busy, you can't hang out no more. Because when I was filming and in school, so coming home on the weekends to film, I don't feel like doing anything. Once I'm done working, I want to go home and relax. Because during the week, I'm doing schoolwork. Like, you know, like I want to come home and relax. But I lost so many friends who would be like, every time you come in town, you don't want to do anything but spend time with your family and your boyfriend. I'm like,
duh.
I mean,
absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. Like, okay, I'm sorry you feel that way, but if this is where we've got to go, then, you know, that's that. But even with him, with school, I was like, when we graduated from high school, I was like, look, don't just come to school out here in Miami because you want to be closer to me or near me. Don't come to school for me, basically. You know, go where you truly want to go because our relationship isn't guaranteed. You know, I don't want you to be unhappy. I don't want to be unhappy here.
Yeah.
You know, and then for him to, that be the only school that he applied to and actually got accepted to by the grace of God. And the school was only 30 minutes away from UM, which was like crazy. And then even fast forwarding to like where we're at now with me deciding to want to go to med school and even vet med school, it's like, I never want either of us to hinder our growth in terms of our careers. So, like, I obviously am not going to be picky on where I get into school. Right. Of course, I would love to go to the schools that I ideally would want to go to. Sure. But at the same time, if I get in, that's where I'm going to go to. So we've had very open and honest conversations about that because it would put us in a space of potentially being long distance again. Right. And we are getting older. And especially going into a career field like that, that's going to put an even bigger strain than what we had before on our relationship because my my urge to want to sit on the phone all day and talk to you or text you is not going to be there. I'm going to be tired. You know, I'm in school.
Don't do that.
I'm in school. I'm going to be tired. So it's like we've had these very realistic convos where I'm like, you know, we may get to a point where we may have to like think about like if you don't want to move to where I'm at when I go to school, if that comes to that, we may have to, you know, call it quits. Not saying that I want that to be the case, but it's something realistically that we have to think about, because I'd rather us go into it open-minded than try something and we ruin our friendship and our relationship, you know? So it's definitely been an interesting space, but I will say both of us have really made sure that we don't hinder our growth in our future and our careers. If he wanted to get up tomorrow and move to San Diego, I would be hurt and I would be sad, but I would be happy for him wanting to follow his career path and go shoot for the stars. So
It's crazy that like you're talking about medical school and stuff, and you would think being the daughter of Jermaine Dupri, you be on somebody. You live in your school.
So many people said that.
That's crazy. But like, I'm so happy for you. Like, that's great. That's a great role model.
Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't get any of the musically talented genes. So it was either books or nothing. I mean, I could
Give it business.
You know, it's giving business woman.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I definitely could have, and I went into different career paths in terms of like trying TV and like auditioning for movies and stuff like that. And don't get me wrong, I love all that stuff too, but I've always known where my true passion lies.
That's good.
I love school. I'm the type that will sit in the library for 8 hours. I love to study. Like me not being in school right now feels weird.
Really?
Like I always say that. I say that so often. I'm like, dang, I don't have no books to read. I don't have to study. I don't have a paper to do. Like this feels weird.
You're
like
different.
I genuinely love it.
You're different.
Yeah.
Yes.
Pretty much. So it's definitely, it's been interesting, and it's funny because while most people will be like, oh, that's great that you're following, you also have those people that are like, why would you want to do that? Like, for instance, I had an issue with a girl at the job that I work at now. She no longer works there anymore due to a very bad situation that ended up happening between me and her. Yeah. But she used to be apparently saying things like, why would she want to work here if her dad is who he is? Why is she even here doing this?
Trying to make it seem like that's not your daddy. I know who my daddy is. Like.
Exactly. And furthermore, trying to make it seem like, first of all, I'm here to do what I need to do to get to where I want to be, you know. And you sitting here, that's the only thing you can say, like, you know, you got people that are like, oh, I'm just happy that she's here and being normal like everyone else doing everything else. But then you have that, and it's like, it's so interesting because people really have that perspective. Like, oh, why aren't you just trying to be in a club and like partying and writing your dad's name all the time? And it's like, because I don't want to
crazy,
do that.
right? Like people have the energy to like just be negative. That makes no sense to me. Like, you could have took a nap. You could have ate something.
Could have put that energy into something else.
But you gonna sit here and think the most negative thing about me. Like, that is just so weird to me.
People have nothing better to do with themselves.
That's crazy.
That is so weird.
Because I felt a preach come on real quick. When you said...
Pass the glory.
Pass the glory. All right. You said one of her main, like, statements was always, like, if her... Like, why won't she do this if her that's right? It literally took me to Jesus when like the enemy like tempted him in the wilderness. It's like, if you are this, why don't you do this? Like, and it was, and you think about like relationally or in the time we're in, it's like, if you can get it, like I feel like the enemy knows if he can get you to a point to try to prove yourself, it'll take you out of like purpose. It'll take you out of passion. It'll, you know, just for the sake of proving who you are. But it's nothing like knowing who you are. You know what I'm saying? True. Like, even with like couples and relationships, like so many people just do it for social media, to like prove like.
True.
I could imagine how many people go broke, like spend more money rent and stuff for the look of it instead of and it's like, man, we supposed to be this, so we need to. And then you had those other people like, well, if you're supposed to be, then why don't you? But it's like knowing who you are. You know what I'm saying? Is so key to the success of like your. I won't even say for your just success, but to your peace.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, like,
It is.
because if you lose that peace, you'll lose your ground. Like, you'll start doing stuff. So it just made me think about that, and like, I want to encourage y'all to, like, I know, like, decisions are at hand, like, on the horizon, you know. And I would say to y'all, especially with that whole, like, hey, like, we might need to rethink some things if I have to do them.
Yeah.
One thing I realize we do sometimes is we hope for the best, we prepare for the worst.
Yeah.
That's kind of our
That's very
training.
true. Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you it's gonna be strong, but follow me. Like, God, I remember God telling me, like, don't confuse your faith. Meaning, to hope for the best and prepare for the worst is like trying to go left and right
Yeah.
at the same time.
Conflicting statements.
You know,
Yeah.
so it's like, let's hope for the best and prepare for the best. Like, instead of, if we get to this point, there's no more bridge. Let's think like, okay, what can we do to build a bridge over this type of water? Like, for me, it was, all right, twice a month. For us, it was like twice a month. We need to see each other. What we doing?
Yeah.
All right, I'm saving this much for a flight or to bring you in or to come to you.
Right.
Okay.
You know, like, it prepare. Like, there's creativity in, like, choosing to persevere. Like, there's, like, God will give you something that's like, hey, if you get in, you boom boom. There's, because I don't see y'all not making it, and this is not me, like, you know, I don't believe in forcing people together. But I'm saying, 6 years, you know, the church will do that. Like, listen, you look good. But what I am saying is, God didn't give y'all a heart for each other for nothing, right? And sometimes it doesn't look like we think it should. But only that's just God trying to say, like, I want to birth a new way in you to be able to know how to, like, because some people just do it for convenience, and we miss stuff just trying to run after, like, what's convenient. Okay, like, it's not convenient being long distance.
No,
Like,
not at all.
you know what I'm saying? We both know what that feels like. She has days and I want to be there, and I can't. You know what I'm saying? It hurts for me not to be able to be there. But in those moments, I have to trust God. Like, God loves her way more than I do, and better than I ever will. So that's where, on those days, I have to be like, man, let's pray. Or even, like, sometimes I pray for her, and it's not with her, but it's for her. You know, that she may not even know.
Right.
But it's like, if you get married, you're going to have to trust God with each other. You make it, you're going to have to trust it. If you don't make it, you have to trust God with each other. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, no matter how these things go, there's a part in every journey where it's like, you gonna have to do it by faith. And you ain't gonna be able to see it. You ain't gonna be able to feel it. You know what I'm saying? It's like.
But sometimes, like, when we have situations where it's like, I have a bad day and you can't be there for me, God needs that separation. Because, like, he doesn't want us to be dependent on each other. Like, he still wants us to remember that God, like, hey, don't be running to him every time you have a bad day. Like, come to me, like, talk to me. Let's pray about it. You know what I mean? So, like, once we realized that, it made those days a lot easier. You know, it's like, all right.
And I'll ask her too, like, do you need some shade time? You need some, like, God time? You need to, you know, there even days where I remember there was like, cause she'll go to work and we'll usually, like, be on the phone. But I remember telling her, I think, like, this week, let's work on, like, I think just you go to work and worship. Like, just you and God. Spend that 30, 40 minutes with him, because it was tough. It was just super stressful at work. I'm like, I don't need to be the voice carrying you through your day, you know, because it's like, I'm not that. God is him, you know. Like, if you need strength for your day, you gonna get that from God. You ain't gonna get that from me.
But it also taught you to stop trying to save all the time.
I had to take the cape off.
Yeah, get out the driver's. Go sit in the passenger seat. Take a break.
Where's my super suit? Listen, we be trying to say, I mean,
it's natural.
It's natural. I think for me,
yeah.
like, we want to say, we want to be able to be like, you can depend on us, you can, but I know for me, like, that's the biggest thing I had to struggle with, to release that thing. Like, if I don't have it, then she ain't gonna hit. You know, if I'm not doing it for her, she not gonna. And God was like, when did you become me? When did
Like, she good. Like,
she been good. Like,
she gonna cry today, but she gonna wake up way better
Yeah.
tomorrow.
And so, yeah, I just really encourage y'all, like,
Yeah.
if you want it, God will give you the wisdom for it.
Yeah.
And, like,
And being able to, like, see certain perspectives, like,
yeah.
that decision is coming up for a reason. Like, maybe you guys do need to be separate for a season so he can work on you as individuals and whatever that may be. But I think perspective is, like, a big
key.
thing. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
It is.
Yeah, it is.
For sure.
Just don't give up too soon.
Yeah.
Cause like it's if you prepare for that,
Right.
then
That season,
subconsciously you'll
Yeah.
be like leaning towards that. You know.
And then you're gonna be like, he back and his friends doing more.
Right. I was about to say that your head gonna be who back broke today. Like who right.
I'm his girlfriend. That's what I'm saying.
Touch it at all. So it's important, like, and that's the work.
Yeah.
I think that's the work. Like I think we forget, like, relationship. It do take work.
Yeah.
They
do.
Yeah.
Woo,
They do.
Don't come over here.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think they know. 6 years.
Oh yeah, they know.
They know.
Right?
Y'all
And look,
figure it
and
out.
he's the type, like, he doesn't believe in, like,
Yeah, I
dating.
don't believe in breaks and stuff.
Right.
He doesn't believe in breaks,
Bruh.
and he doesn't believe in dating for, like, a long period of time.
Without
So, like,
intention, like,
because we're young, I think it's held him off for a while.
Yeah.
But he's like the type, well, you know, I'm gonna get ready to propose, like, you
Yeah.
know, in the next
yeah.
year or two. I'm like, you can give me about 5 more years.
You know what? Between y'all two, you need to sit over here, cause
No, next year
I'm
too.
like, Willie, I get it.
Listen, look,
Hold on, yeah.
and turn your phone off.
Oh, she actually went out. Don't be doing it be like that.
Yeah, he's definitely like that too.
Yeah, he's definitely like in the next 1 to 2 years.
It's just
I
because when
wanna
you know, you know.
propose.
Right.
It's like,
Right.
what more time do we need to?
Life sometimes.
We can life together.
I told him, I just was like, I don't want the pressure of marriage. You know, I was like, you know, if you
Talk
want
to me, break it down.
to propose,
Right.
that's fine.
Okay.
You know, and we can, like, remain
Be engaged for next 6
Yeah,
years.
we can remain engaged for a while, but typically that doesn't happen. When you get
Yeah.
proposed to, you start to think about, get hyper focused on marriage, and that's the only thing that you're thinking about. Let me get my
Okay.
wedding together. What do I
Yeah.
want? You know, so it's like, I don't, especially with me wanting to go
Back
to
to
school,
Yeah.
it's like, I don't really. Right now, I'm saying I don't have the time because that's, you know, what I'm thinking about.
Right.
I don't necessarily know, but just
Right.
speaking, you know, for future tense, I don't necessarily think I'll have the time to focus on both a wedding and that.
But what if you guys like get married real quick and then have a wedding later?
See, I
That
don't want that.
See, she want to have it
I
all at
want
one
a
time.
big, I want a big
She want a
destination
grand-
wedding, you know, like,
Yeah.
so that would, and
Yeah.
that's another thing. So it's like, I know what I would want, and I would be super excited, but it's like, I just don't want to lose sight of what I'm really after right now.
Yeah.
You
Now,
know.
Shaniah, now, my good sister. Okay, we about to get it together. No, I'm here. No, I commend. I think what exists in you from what I'm hearing is just a strong, like, level of, like, you like to be prepped. You like to know. Like,
Yeah.
I think about how you are with school,
Yeah.
studying.
You have to be.
You like to know.
Yeah, I do.
Like, you know,
100%.
love to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My God. Jesus. All of the beauty is, though, sometimes God will ask you for that thing that you are so clean to. And here's the thing, not even to, like, put you to shame, not to take some sense of security away from you.
Yeah.
But it's like, if you needing to know is getting in the way of you knowing him, and his ability to provide, his ability to give you what you need, his ability to put you where you need to be, how you need to be there,
Or sustain you during your school
or
season.
sustain
you know?
you, like all.
Right.
Because it's like, how does one thing I learned is God only pokes his chest out at the things that get in the way of us getting to know him.
Okay.
So it's like, okay, what's that? Is that relationship?
Past
Is it
the
no-
glories.
Yeah. I'm sorry. It's life though. I learned
Yeah.
it. It's like some things I don't have right now
Yeah.
because they would literally get in the way of me getting to know God. Like, I'm like, God, you know, like, you know how we know how it is to wake up, be so aware of what you can do, and you see other people even walking in like the gifts that you may possess, and you're like, they living off of this. Why am I not? And he's like, cause if you are, then you forget me, and then you don't get to know me as the one able to. But for you, with that ability, wanting to know. And it's making you keep pushing the little timeline and the finish line back. Cause see what you may not know about you is that you do have the ability to be great, but great in your career and great in your marriage.
Yeah.
Like you're not okay. Here we go.
Give it to me.
He's not gonna let you fail. He's not. He's not gonna let you fail. He's not gonna let you fail at this. He's not gonna let you fail at life. He's not gonna let you fail. He will not let you fail. Like,
and knowing that like he's giving it to you because you can't handle it. Like he's not gonna give you something you can't handle.
Right.
Like he's not gonna be like, I know you want to do this, so I'm gonna give you a whole bunch of stuff so you can't do it. Like he's gonna be like the complete opposite. You know.
And you gotta be careful of other voices that maybe have convinced you without this much time in it, without this much this in it, then you're not ready for it, or you don't know about it. Like,
but I do agree. Like marriage, like being a wife. Like what is that? Like is that time now? Like we're doing that now? Like
it doesn't
that
seem,
is a lot of pressure in a way.
can I ask what is the pressure y'all think of when y'all say that? Like define that for me.
I don't know.
So I would say, because when I think of marriage, I think of other things to come after marriage. So
The
kids, the babies being the biggest one. I feel like, I mean, I don't really necessarily know if it's more responsibility because we've been together so long, or I guess you could essentially say we're already in a sense kind of married. Like when I was in school, we kind of basically stayed together practically for the 2 years, so we experienced that. So I don't necessarily know outside of the kids aspect what other pressures would come with it.
Do you,
Which is controllable.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
It's true.
Because you don't want to talk about 5.
It's true.
Right. So are we thinking like more of a derailing direction?
I think
pressure?
For me that's what it would be.
Okay.
For me, I'm very also career motivated. So
Nothing wrong with that, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like I don't want to lose sight of where I'm going. So anything that I feel necessarily is like a distraction from keeping me into my end goal of becoming a doctor, no matter what kind of doctor that is, I just feel like I just don't want anything there that could deter me any longer. Right now I'm on my second gap year, which wasn't even planned. Like I would have loved to just go from undergrad to like med school or vet school. But I actually have found grace in my gap year because I've gotten to learn a lot about myself. You know, I started working at the animal hospital during that time. I've always loved animals, but I never knew that I had a passion for animal medicine or wanting to help animals in the way that I do now. And I would have never found that out or realized that had I not taken this path. So I found a lot of grace in it. So it's weird because I've learned to trust God a lot during this time. So it's interesting, like now that you pointed that out to me, that I'm talking in this way about things to come in the future, but I've already experienced a similar experience. But I guess the difference for me is that that was with just me and what I was dealing with, as opposed to like us together in our relationship. But I definitely, during that time, I learned to trust God and, you know, find grace in the moment and, you know, trust the journey most importantly, because there was times when I was like very depressed because I was like, why isn't this happening like now? Why am I not going to med school right now? You know, like suffering from imposter syndrome. Like you know you're smart, but maybe you're not this smart, you know, stuff like that. So it's really interesting now that you pointed that out to me, because it sounds like I need to do some more work inside, which is okay. You know, it's constantly, you know,
and it's like
a moment to grow.
It's good to hear that you're not scared about marriage. You're just scared about a wedding.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Just
Like,
that
you're just,
direction and it
Yeah.
takes. Willie, what's your? How do you manage your posture through the whole like just patience of like journeying with someone you love who
like,
may not be where you
gotta pump the brakes.
Yeah.
Hold on.
You saying like from the aspect of like the marriage?
Yeah, or just
Okay. I mean, like we've had conversations about it, kind of like, and she's saying some of the same things. I know she wants to have a full-on ceremony. Doesn't want to do like the courthouse.
Right.
So
Absolutely not.
but it's good to know that the reason is because of that and not because of like something
like
else.
uncertainty with y'all.
Yeah.
Which is dope. I think that's awesome.
And I think we like give each other like room to grow in what we're doing, like giving each other time, not too much time, but enough to grow into whatever it is we're trying to do. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because you don't want to like resent each other later on.
Right.
Well, I gave up my dream for you. And it's like,
Because actually we don't live together right now that we're back home. We still stay at home with our parents. I've chosen not to move out because I do know that I want to go to school.
Exactly.
And rent in Atlanta is expensive.
Listen,
Point blank, period.
it's going
Rent
up.
is expensive. Rent is expensive everywhere.
Y'all keep moving here and they keep raising
Exactly.
prices.
So
It's crazy.
it's just it's not making sense to move out and pay all that.
Yeah.
So you know, for us, the biggest thing right now is, okay, let's establish ourselves in our careers. You get on your feet. You just graduated from school. So I'm not putting a lot of pressure on him. Like, I need you to be ready to move out now so we can get a place. It's something that we're moving towards, definitely. And we have these conversations often because I'm like, hey, you know, like, what's your plan? Like, you're working now. I know you're finishing school, but where do we see ourselves in the next 2 years?
And it's like, since high school, we've seen each other graduate from both high school and college. And have had those conversations through 2 or 3 different periods of time because of high school stage, college stage, and now.
Well, tracking your progress is what I'm hearing. Like, cause I'm learning too, so it's like to have a check-in system that keeps like you both accountable to like progression is important. I think
my mom reminds me very often that who you are at 18 is not who you are at 21
at all.
Who you are at 21 is not who you are at 25 and who you are at 25 is not going to be who you are at 30.
Listen.
And she doesn't say that to me to deter me from our relationship or anything like that, but for me to be optimistic but also realistic and knowing that we are growing, you know, even though obviously we love each other, we have faith in our relationship, there is the very likelihood that we could grow apart one day because we are still growing as individuals. We have changed a lot since, you know, we first met at 15 and 16.
It's like 9 years now.
Yeah, it's been a long time. I don't even know. I lost track of counting years.
You're saying you're finna be 25 this year.
Yeah.
So this will be 9 years you know each other.
Yep.